I want to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Jamin Elliott. Jamin is the #1 athletic recruiting advisor. He was a two-sport athlete at the University of Delaware, where he earned his degree in 2002 and went on to a career in professional football. He was selected in the sixth round of the NFL draft by the Chicago Bears in 2002 and later earned a Super Bowl ring with the New England Patriots in 2003. Currently, Jamin is known as the #1 athletic recruiting advisor, where he helps guide parents and student athletes through the college recruiting process. Over the past 4 years, he has helped over 80 plus student athletes gain athletic scholarships to, to colleges and universities all across the country and at every level. He has developed a simple and proven process that helps student athletes step by step through this complex world of athletic recruiting. He has done countless recruiting seminars virtually and at local high schools and is the author of A Parent's Step-by-Step Guide to Getting Through the College Football Recruiting Process, taking the frustration out of the recruiting process using the champion's approach. Please welcome and join me in welcoming Mr. Jamin Elliott.
Appreciate the intro, Dr. Christie. What's going on, everybody? First of all, I want to say, this summit is awesome. I love the fact of what you're doing to spread some of this knowledge to the young students and the student athletes. I wish I would have had this when I was coming up, Dr. Christie. So thank you for putting this together, this platform, and thank you for having me to be a part of it, man. I know you guys out there, you probably got your, I hope you guys got your sandwiches, got your food, got your drinks. This gonna be a lunchtime conversation that we're gonna have. And like I say, like Miss Micheline was talking about before, this is like family, man. And this is something that we're in the keep it real section. So I wanna first just say, I appreciate you guys jumping on and just being a part of this. And today, what I wanna talk about is, I know we have some athletes on the line right now that are a part of this summit right now, and I want to be able to talk about, we got a lot of athletes that want to go to college, and a lot of you guys want to play sports in college, and you want to learn about the recruiting process. But before you even start to get into the process, I want to give you 10 things that you need to know and understand before you actually start your recruiting process. This will be something that every parent and every student athlete needs to know and understand before you actually start your process. And the more you know about it, the better understanding that you'll have, and the more aware of things that you will be when you actually get into your process. So we'll move forward. Again, who is this for? Again, this is for any high school athlete in any sport that wants to play collegiately and wants to learn more about the college recruiting process. And again, even if you're not playing sports, there are going to be a couple of little tidbits in there for you as well, as far as what we talk about going forward. I don't want to give it away until I get to it, but it's going to be some little nuggets in there for you as well. So a quick agenda. It's probably going to be try to give about 45 minutes if I can, and then I'm try to leave some room at the end for questions. But I'm gonna tell you a little bit about me and my background. I'm gonna jump into those 10 things that you need to know and understand, and then at the end we'll ask questions. So if you have questions, write them down, and then we at the end we'll be able to have you come off of mute to ask your questions, and we'll go from there. Try to be quick with it. I know we ran a little bit over on the time before, so I want to respect everybody's time and kind of get in a little bit. So a little bit about me. Dr. Christie kind of gave a little background, but I'll kind of give you my story and a little bit about me. So my name is Jamin Elliott. I'm a former regional director of college scouting with one of the nation's oldest and largest scouting organizations. Did that for about 4.5 years. And now, currently I'm an athletic recruiting advisor where I help guide parents and student athletes through the college recruiting process. So my story and my background, I'm originally from Portsmouth, Virginia, born and raised. Grew up to a single parent household with my mom. My mom had 3 kids, so we grew up in a housing project there in Portsmouth, Virginia. And I'm not sure well, most of you guys are from, but if you're from the Virginia area, from the Tidewater area, Portsmouth is a pretty tough place and a pretty rough place. But thank God we made it through, and thank God, kind of move forward. But I knew that, going forward, my only way, if I was going to get to college, my only way was going to be through athletics and through a full athletics scholarship. I didn't have, many other options when it came to that. My grades were okay. I mean, I was a B student, but I knew that, my mom couldn't afford to send me to college, so I knew athletics was probably going to be my route to college. So I started running track my freshman year in high school. And that was kind of the first sport where I kind of got into it. I actually ran track all throughout high school. I became the Virginia state champion in the triple jump, finished second in the country in the triple jump. So track and field was my thing kind of growing up, and running. So I was hoping to get scholarship offers in track or whatever. And I got some opportunities there, but football happened to come along. So one of the football coaches actually came out to one of my track meets to watch me run. And he was like, son, you ever thought about playing football? Now, mind you, growing up, when you grow up in the housing projects, man, you play a lot of different sports, man. So I went from basketball season to baseball season. But when it got to football season, my mom could never afford the equipment for me to play. So, I would play ball in the backyard. I would go to the field and play with the guys, but I never played it organized. So I go out for my high school team. And now, mind you, my position was a wide receiver. For those of you who follow football, I was a wide receiver. So I'm the guy who's flanked out. I have to catch the ball from the quarterback. But the offense that we ran, the type of offense that we ran, didn't feature wide receivers. It was more of a running type offense. So we literally ran the ball 95% of the time and only threw it 5% of the time. So needless to say, when it came to recruiting, I wasn't on anybody's radar at all because I only caught 5 passes my entire junior year. I was pretty much out there on the flank blocking guys and blocking corners and blocking safe, but I wasn't catching many passes. So my senior year comes around, and the preseason before my senior year is kind of when my fate started to change a little bit. I knew that God had his hands in working something, right? So one of our in our second scrimmage, right at the beginning of my senior year, one of our starting tailbacks, he broke his collarbone in the scrimmage. So me being one of the faster guys on my team, my coach moves me from wide receiver, where I wasn't catching many passes, over to the running back position. So literally, first time ever playing running back. Never, as a receiver, we don't like to get hit. You know what I mean? So we want to try to go, and as soon as we touch the ball, we're trying to score. So I would literally get in my stance. The quarterback would send me in motion. I would catch the pitch from the quarterback, and literally I would just take off running. I would go 70 yards. I would go 80 yards running. I'm not trying to cut. I'm not trying to juke. I'm trying to get to the end zone, right? So my entire senior year, I carried the ball probably about 45, 46 times, but I had almost 800 yards rushing. So I averaged almost 20 yards a carry every time I touched the ball, right? So that alone kind of opened my recruiting up for football. Now, mind you, my ultimate goal when I started playing football was to play at a large Division I college. Like, that was my goal. That's what I wanted to do. I wasn't taking no for an answer. But because of the limited opportunities that I got in high school, I was getting recruited by Division I schools, but I wasn't getting recruited by the major Division I schools. I was getting recruited by schools like, James Madison University and University of Delaware and William and Mary. So still Division I, but lower level. So what I had to do is I had to change my mindset and switch and shift my mindset to those schools that were showing interest in me. Those big schools weren't showing much interest in me, so I had to go and focus on the schools that were focusing on me. So to make a long story short, I ended up choosing the University of Delaware on a full football scholarship. And after 2 years of just playing high school football, I became the University of Delaware's all-time leading wide receiver. Got inducted into the school's Hall of Fame. And then, like Dr. Christie said, I got drafted by the Chicago Bears. I did 2 years with the Bears, 1 year with the Patriots, got a Super Bowl ring with the Patriots. And I want to show you guys this. So I don't know if you guys can see it. And let me know in the chat if you can see it, man.
Ooh.
But that's the Super Bowl ring with the Patriots, and I did 3 years with the Atlanta Falcons. So I'm blessed to be in a position now, man, to, my ultimate goal is try to help as many kids out as I can. And one thing, somebody helped me along the way, and I want to be able to pass that down to you guys and pass the information down to you guys to help you. And the main goal, and what I tell this all the time, is to use athletics as a means to get your college degree. Not everybody's going to make it to the NFL. Not everybody's going to make it to the WNBA. Not anybody's going to make it to the professional league. But if you can use athletics as a means to get your degree and try to go to college for free or as close to free as possible, that's the ultimate goal. So what I'm doing now is want to educate you about some of the things that I've learned as a player myself, as a former scout, and now as an athletic recruiting advisor, helping over 80 plus kids get to college. So you tend to learn what to do and what not to do throughout the process. So that's kind of my story, my background. So we'll jump right into it, and we'll get into the 10 things now. So the first thing that you guys need to know, for anybody that's pursuing anything that you want to be great at, it starts with the love of the game. Whether you're running track, whether you're playing softball, whether you're playing baseball, whether you're playing basketball. If you want to be great at anything, you got to love what you're doing. You got to have a genuine passion, a genuine commitment, and a genuine drive to get better. That's the one thing that college coaches will be looking for when they're looking for their next recruit. They want guys who love the game, because if you love the game, they know that you're going to do everything possible to get yourself better, to become the caliber of athlete that they expect you to be. So you got to love it, and you got to be committed. Now, remember this. One thing I want you to remember. Your mom and dad cannot want this more than you do. If your mom or your dad is forcing you to get up and go work out, forcing you to go practice, forcing you to get up and train, any of those things, if your mom and dad is pushing you to do that and you're not doing that on your own, then that you may have to rethink whether playing collegiately is something that you want to do. If you truly, I'm telling you, when you get to college, it's a whole nother level, right? Your mom and dad are not going to be the ones that's getting up at 5 a.m. to do winter conditioning. Your mom and dad's not going to be the one that's going and going to class for you every day. Your mom and dad is not going to be doing training with you. You are. So if you don't love it, that's okay. Then you might have to think about doing something else. But if you truly love it, you're going to do what you have to do to get yourself to that level. So it starts with that love first. If you don't love it, you might want to think about doing something else. Are you willing to do what it takes is the question. Are you willing to do the things that coaches need you to do in order to become the caliber of athlete that they expect you to be? This is right now. This is a look at your mirror, look in the mirror type moment. I want you guys to look in the mirror and think about this stuff and look inside yourself. Am I doing what it takes to get myself to the next level? The second thing that you need to know and understand before you actually get into the process is understand the NCAA requirements, right? So the first thing we're going to talk about is the NCAA Eligibility Center. So the NCAA Eligibility Center, formerly known as the NCAA Clearinghouse, your mom and dad may know about the Clearinghouse. It used to be called the Clearinghouse back in the day. Now it's called the NCAA Eligibility Center. In order to compete at the Division I or the Division II level in college, every student athlete must be registered with the NCAA Eligibility Center. So there is no, should I do it? You have to do it in order to compete at Division I or Division II level. Now, there's a website that you go to, and if you guys want to write this down, and Dr. Christie may want to put it in the chat for everybody, but it's www.eligibilitycenter.org. That's the website where you go to register. Like I said, you'll go there. You'll answer some questions about your eligibility, your academic information, and then they'll go in, and then you'll be given an eligibility number. That NCAA eligibility number is the number that you will give to college coaches when they come to reach out to you or want to get information about you, to let them know that you've already been registered and you're already ready to go and prepared to play collegiately. So the cost for that is $90. However, keep this in mind. For some of you guys, if you qualify for a waiver for the SATs, you will qualify for a waiver for the eligibility center as well. So one thing that I encourage you guys to do is make sure you have a sit down with your guidance counselor, and your guidance counselor have all this information as well to help guide you through it. Like again, if you qualify for a waiver for the SATs, you'll qualify for a waiver for the eligibility center as well, because it's based on your household income. And pretty much what the eligibility center does, it pretty much just certifies you academically to compete at Division I or Division II level. What they do, they take a look at your test scores. They'll take a look at the number of the core courses you've taken. The core courses meaning your maths, your sciences, your Englishes, and your social studies, and also your foreign languages. So they'll make sure that you're on track with taking the courses that you need to take. So get registered with the eligibility center first. That's the most important thing that I can leave you with on that. Let me know you got it, man. Type in the chat. I understand. I got it. I'm gonna get registered. And again, another look in the mirror moment. Do you have what's required for the schools that you're interested in? What do you look like academically? What type of are you the size that coaches are looking for? Are you the speed that some schools are looking for? Do you have what's required for the school that you're interested in? If you do, then it is okay to reach out to those schools and kind of present yourself. The third thing that you need to know and understand about the college recruiting process before you actually get into it is that please understand that recruiting has changed. It has changed a lot since I was in school, since your parents were probably in school. Recruiting has changed a lot. Nowadays with social media and the transfer portal now, and even the COVID eligibility stuff, it's changed the game. So back when I played, we didn't have social media. You know, coaches came in, they had no access to you until your junior year. So we if you were an athlete, they didn't come to you, or we didn't know they had interest until your junior year. Now, coaches are identifying kids through social media and through what they're posting and through other avenues. They'll find out about kids as far as early as their freshman year, and sometimes even earlier than that. So knowing how to navigate social media, knowing how to present yourself on social media, those things are very, very important. Mainly Twitter. Almost every coach that I know has a Twitter platform. So that's probably the #1 recruiting tool that most student athletes will use. Now, some coaches are on Facebook. A lot of coaches are a little bit older, so they're on Facebook. I've seen kids get noticed on there as well. But just know that they're identifying kids early. So knowing how to navigate social media, knowing what to post, knowing how to post, all of those things is very important. And that's something that I can help you guys out with as well. But we're not going to get into it here. And then the second thing, sorry about that. The second thing is the transfer portal. So I know a lot of you guys that are on the athletic side have probably heard a lot about the transfer portal. So what the transfer portal is the NCAA now has allowed any student athlete that's playing in college sports, to transfer one time without penalty. So before, you could transfer, and if you were to transfer to another school at the same level or higher level, you had to sit out at least one season. Now, with them loosening the requirements now, you can transfer without any penalty at all. So now there are thousands of kids that are in this portal right now. So what college coaches are doing, these kids that are in the portal, they're college ready kids already. I mean, so they're already collegiate ready. You know what I mean? They're ready to play. They played in college before. So coaches are coveting those kids more now than they are high school kids. So those transfer kids are actually taking more spots from the high school kids than they are, from the college kids. So it's important to understand that, with this happening, and that coaches are now choosing kids who are college ready rather than a high school kid who needs development. Now you have to know how to maneuver that and understand, you know what, I better open my options. Because one thing that is doing with these kids transferring, it's pushing even some of the really good athletes, it's pushing them down a level. So some kids who may be top tier Division I kids, they may have to go lower tier Division I. Some kids who are lower Division I may have to go to Division II because there's just not enough spots for everybody. So knowing how to navigate this is important, man. So social media, and transfer portal. Understanding those two things will be important in your process going forward. Have you changed your game plan? Are you still, sticking to the old plan, or what your parents may be telling you, or somebody who's not been in the process recently telling you things? Are you still kind of following that game plan, or are you adapting to what's going forward? Remember, you can only you can't change what you don't have control over. So you just have to adapt, and that's what we have to do. Here's one of the biggest things, and I talk about this. I mentioned a little bit before, but your grades matter. And Dr. Christian, this is exactly what this whole summit is all about. It's about your grades. The better you are academically, the more opportunities you open yourself up to. And I cannot stress this enough. And it's funny, man. This is something that should be understood, but I see a lot of kids falling through the cracks every single year because they're not taking their grades serious enough. They're good enough athletically, but academically, they put themselves behind the 8 ball. And now you have somebody like me to kind of give you the knowledge, the understanding. We're helping so many kids and being around this for the last 15 to 20 years. I understand it so clearly now, man, how many doors great grades can open up for you.
So, Jamin, can I interrupt you? So you mean
Sure.
if I'm a star player on the football team and I run a flat 4 or 40, etc.
Yep.
That's not enough.
Yep.
I've got to pass.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that's facts, all facts. So hey, look, you may get a pass, but you may have to go to community college first before you come to the next. So you don't want to miss opportunities anywhere. And most of the student athletes don't know that not every Division I sport is a full scholarship sport. There are only 6 sports that are full scholarship sports, Division I sports that are full scholarship sports. That's football, that's men's and women's basketball, that's women's volleyball, that's women's tennis, and that's women's gymnastics. Every other sport, track and field, soccer, baseball, any other sport that I didn't mention is a partial scholarship sport. So that means when it comes to partial scholarships, schools are looking for kids who are great academically because that money will come from the academic side and that money will come from the athletic side. So the better you are academically, the less athletic money a school has to give you, the more academic money they can give you. That becomes a full scholarship. And when your grades are great, you become a commodity to these college coaches because they don't have big recruiting budgets or spending budgets or athletic budgets to spend a lot of money on athletes. So the more you can help a coach out with your grades being fantastic, the better opportunity you'll have with that school recruiting you. I can't stress it enough, man. Your grades are super duper important. So you guys understand what I'm talking about? Type in the chat for me if you understand. Yes, I understand that most of those sports, not every sport is Division I. Division I sport is a full scholarship sport. So please keep that in mind as you go, that your grades are super duper important. Oh, I'm going a little bit too fast. Sorry about that.
Hey, Jamin, we got a request to repeat that. I don't know if it's the 6 schools or not, but one of the parents asked me to repeat.
Absolutely. So there are Division I sports. There are 6 sports at Division I level that offer full athletic scholarships. Football, men's and women's basketball, women's volleyball, women's tennis, and women's gymnastics. All other sports, including track and field, baseball, softball, soccer, any other sport, is a partial scholarship sport, which means a school will lean on athletic money and academic money. And in order to reach that full scholarship status, they put the two together to make a full scholarship rather than all full athletic money. So those are the sports. Hopefully that was a little clear, and hopefully you got that there. Was that okay?
Yes, I put it in the chat for him too.
Okay, awesome. So I definitely wanted to put this slide up here because it illustrates the point that I'm talking about. And this is something that if anything I said didn't catch your ear, then hopefully this chart right here catches your eyes. So here's a slide showing, what percentage of schools can recruit you based on the GPA that you have, right? And remember, this is GPA in your core courses. This is what colleges look for in your core, not gym, not technology, not any of those other sports, but your core courses like math, science, social studies, English, and foreign language. Your GPA is determined on this. So you can see the better your GPA, the more of a percentage that those colleges can recruit you. 94% of schools can recruit you with a 4-point GPA. The lower your GPA is, as you see going down the list, the less schools that can recruit you. So if this doesn't open your eyes right here, you're like, you know what? If you're struggling right now, ask for help. You know what I mean? Start now. Look at where you are on the spectrum. If you're on the top end, great job, keep doing what you're doing. But if you're on the bottom end, start taking it more seriously and ask for help, because I promise it's gonna help you in the long run. Okay. So hopefully this was helpful for you guys. Again, what do your grades look like? Look yourself in the mirror, right? It's okay. Look, it's okay to say I'm struggling. It's okay to say, you know what, I need help. Asking for help is not a weakness, it's a strength. That's one thing I was always told. So don't be scared to ask. You know what I mean? Especially if you're trying to reach the goal of getting to college. Super duper important to don't be scared to ask for help. People want to help, but you gotta go seek it, right? The fifth thing that you need to know and understand about the recruiting process before you actually start the process is you have to be proactive and put in work if you want to get the attention that you need. I get this a lot, man. A lot of kids and a lot of families still are subscribing by the old adage of, you know, if I'm good enough, they'll find me, right? But I promise you, if you're still thinking that way, now keep in mind, there's always exceptions to every rule. There's always those top tier athletes that no matter what, you know, because of the exposure that they're getting, they're going to get recruited, and that's only the top 1%. The other 99% of us, like myself, we got to put in a little work for the coaches to get to notice us. You remember that there's not enough coaches out there to come see every game. There's not enough coaches out there to come see every practice, right? So if we want a school to know about us, we better go to that school and let that coach know who we are, rather than that coach coming out to you. A lot of people don't understand too, at a lot of the lower levels, lower level Division I schools and Division II schools, the average recruiting budget for a coach to travel and everything is $2,500. Think about that, right? You got your big schools like your Alabamas and your Georgias and Clemsons and things like that. They got the big budget, so they can travel all over the country. But you got lower level schools that don't have the athletic budgets to get out to see every kid that that is so many kids out there. They don't have the budget to get out to see every kid. So you have to know how that works. And you know what? I can't sit back and wait on them to come to me. I gotta be proactive and go to them. So the things you're gonna have to do, you're gonna have to email coaches. You're gonna have to DM coaches. You're gonna have to be active on social media. You're gonna have to take some visits to some schools. You're gonna have to study and put in work to be the best you can off the field, the track, and the court. So make sure you guys are being proactive and putting in the work. I promise you, if you're doing everything that you need to do on your end and you're performing on the field as well, by the time you get to your senior year is when most kids get offered. Your offer is going to be sitting there right on the table. You just have to put in the work leading up to that point in order to get the result that you need. Okay? Type in the chat, I got it. I understand it. I'm going to put in the work to be the best that I can be on the field and off the field. Awesome.
Hey, James, I got a question. Should the emails come from students or the parents?
So that's an awesome question. So I'm gonna tell you right now, and I'm gonna keep it real. And this is what we do. A coach doesn't want to ever hear from a parent. A coach always wants to hear from a kid, because again, like I mentioned before, the kid is going to be the one that's going to be at school. The kid is going to be the one that the coach is going to be dealing with for the next 4 to 5 years. So they want to see that the kid is showing interest in the school, not the parent. So anything you're doing as far as emailing or reaching out to coaches, it should be the student athlete and not the parent. Now the parents are back there to kind of help them in the background with, you know, how to put an email together, how to things like that. And if you don't know how to do that, that's something that I do. And I'll talk a little bit about that more a little bit later. But helping putting this stuff together is your parent's job is to support your athlete, not do the process for you. And as a parent, if you find out that you're putting in more work than your child is doing, then your child might want to think about doing something else. Because I'm telling you, when they get to college, it's going to be a whole nother world. And I promise the schedule that you're going to be on, the work you got to put in, a lot of kids quit because of it, because they're not dedicated to it. So definitely have it come from the athlete. Great question. What work are you putting in? So the sixth thing that you need to know and understand about the college recruiting process before you actually start the process is understand that this whole process is a marathon, not a sprint. Nowadays, it's so funny, man. Everybody wants an offer now, right? So many kids want to get recruited now. But you don't realize, man, that most kids won't receive an offer from a college until the end of their junior year or even into their senior year. I didn't receive my first offer until December of my senior year. Signing day was in February. So understand that coaches are now, even with the transfer portal now, they're sorting through the type of athletes that they want. They're waiting to see who's going to be available in the portal. Who can they look at first before they look at a high school kid? They're looking at all these different things. So it's going to take time for them to kind of sift through all those things. And a lot of times those decisions are not made until after the season in your senior your senior year. So understand, that this thing is called a process for a reason. It might not happen now. And for, like again, there's always exceptions to the rule, and there's always those top tier kids. But those are the 1%. We don't work in the minority; we work in the majority. So we focus on those kids like myself and like a lot of you guys, where you know what, I need to do what I have to do on my end and understand that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Remember, you're going to go through some ups and downs throughout this process. It's going to be some ups. You're going to be mad and frustrated at coaches for not reaching out and things like that and not responding back to you, whatever. But understand it's a process. And when you're an underclassman, understand that a coach can't reach out to you until after July 1st of your going into your junior year. So if you're reaching out to coaches, they may be seeing your information, but they may not be responding back to it. It does not mean they're not interested. That just means they can't reply. So you just keep putting the work, keep putting yourself out there, keep showing that you're improving. And I promise you, the more work you put in throughout the process, the better off you're going to be at the end of the process. Does that make sense to you guys? Let me know if that makes sense. Are you trying to rush your process, or are you willing to understand that it is a process and take the necessary steps to move forward? The number 7 thing that I want you guys to understand about the recruiting process before you actually start the process is finding a college or going to school is all about finding your right fit. So I got a lot of athletes on this call, and I want you guys to understand how tough it is to even not just play Division I, but to even play college sports, right? So I'm gonna throw some numbers at you so you kind of understand what I'm talking about and how limited the opportunities are, right? So I want you guys to think about this. So there are about 8 million student athletes that play high school sports, right? There's 8 million. Only 4.5% of 8 million kids will get a chance to play collegiately. That's Division I, Division II, Division III. Only 4.5% of all those 8 million will get a chance to play, right? So then a lot of times I get a kid that comes to me and say, you know what, Coach Elliott, not only am I going to go to college, but I want to be a D1 player. So then I got to sit them down and tell them, like, okay, so you think about those 8 million kids, right? 4.5% get a chance to play college. Of those 8 million, only 1%, think about it, 1% of all student athletes in high school will get a chance to play at a Division I college. And that's Division I. I'm not just talking about the big schools like your North Carolinas and your NC States and things like that. I'm talking about that's Division I, from your Alabamas all the way down to your Delawares, like my school that I went to. So only 1% will get a chance to play Division I. So then you get a kid that says, you know what, not only am I going to play Division I, but I'm going to play at Alabama, or I'm going to play at Clemson, I'm going to play at UCLA. So then I got to let them know, okay, 8 million, only 4.5% go to college, 1% will play Division I, 0.5% or half of that 1% of kids will get an opportunity to play at a Power 5 conference, like an SEC, like an ACC, like a Pac-10, Big 12. 0.5% to get a chance to play at that opportunity. So, and then even less will get a chance to play. Even it's 0.08%. They get a chance to make it to the professional leagues. So one thing I like to make clear, man, is that understand that recruiting is not all about going to the biggest school. I know, my goal was to go division, a top tier Division I school, but they didn't show me interest. So I had to focus on the schools that focused on me. So it's not all about going to the big school. It's not all about the name on the front of the jersey. It's not about any of that. It's about finding a school that fits you best academically, and socially, and being in the right, environment. Those are the things that are going to be the most important factors. And again, you're making it to the professional leagues, whether it's, professional football, professional basketball, whatever it is, if making it to the professional leagues is your goal, and you got the opportunity to do that, it does not matter what school you go to. If you're good enough, that professional league, whatever league that is, they will find you if you're good enough, right? So I always say, it doesn't matter what level you go to, dominate the level that you play. If you dominate the level, now you can't be average. You have to dominate. And if you dominate the level that you play, you will have opportunities to play at that next level. So don't get caught up on going, and it's okay. Division I can be the goal, and that's fine. But understand that at the end of the day, it's all about going to a school that's the best fit for you, academically, athletically, and socially. And again, if you just focus on going only Division I, then you're going to miss opportunities at the lower levels that may be a better fit for you. So I encourage you guys to open your options up, keep your options open. When a school comes calling, you treat them with respect. If it's a Division I school, or if it's a Division II school, or Division III school, you treat every school the same, because remember, these coaches move around, right? They may start at a lower level school, but they may end up at a Division I school. So the way you treated them during your process is going to be what they remember. So just keep your options open, man. Again, it's all about finding the right fit. Type in the chat, I understand. It's all about, or type in the chat, makes sense. I understand, that it's all about your fit. Again, are you open to finding the right school, or do you have what I call D1-itis, which is only locking in on Division I school? Every kid has the D1-itis, but it's my job to educate you as far as what you need to do and how you need to think going into the process, because if you only lock in, again, you're going to miss opportunities elsewhere. The number 8 thing that you need to know and understand about the process is, before you start, is no two athletes have the same process. So it's funny, I run into this all the time, man. I get kids who are always comparing themselves to other kids, right? They're always comparing what another kid got. They're wondering why another kid got an offer from a certain school and why they didn't, and they feel like, they're better than them. And but I want you guys to understand that, and remember this, that college coaches see different things in different athletes. And they may see traits in another kid that may be a better fit for their program than they see in you. Or, they may have a need for one guy at that position, but they may not have a need for your position. So you have to understand that if you have 1,000 kids, there's going to be 1,000 different processes. So one thing that I want you guys to do, who are currently in the recruiting process, is stop comparing yourself to other kids. Stop comparing yourself to someone else's process. You have to run your own race and stay in your own lane. And if you continue to do that, it's only going to frustrate you at the end of the day. And then your process is going to be miserable. But I promise you, if you focus on your own process and you stay in your own lane and focus on who's recruiting you and focus on those schools, I promise you, you'll have a much more enjoyable process. That's my word. So understand. So say in the chat for me, man. I'm not going to compare myself, I'm going to stay in my lane. That's what I want you guys to do, because I want you guys to have an awesome process. Again, are you comparing your process to others, right? Stay in your own lane. The 9th thing about the recruiting process that you should know and understand before you actually start it, recruiting is all about building relationships, right? So the earlier you start your process, the sooner you start your process, the more opportunity a coach will have the chance to get to know you throughout the process. So remember, it takes time for a coach to get to know you, right? Just like any relationship. it takes time for people to get to know. And the more they know you, the more comfortable they feel. They feel about you, and they feel with you. And coaches want to see throughout the process. They want to see your development. They want to see how you progression. They want to see how your grades are continuing to progress. They want to see that you continue to develop on the field or the court or the track. They want to see you getting faster. They want to see those things before they feel comfortable, offering you a $40,000 scholarship. So please understand that building a relationship with coaches, making sure you're updating the coaches throughout the process. Let them know what you're doing throughout the process. Let them know that your grades are progressing. Shooting the coach a DM. Those little things go a long way into having the coach know that you're interested in them, but they're going to also be interested in you if you're the type of athlete that they're looking for. Now, understand, don't get discouraged by, if a coach doesn't, get back to you or doesn't want to get back to you. Remember, you may not be a kid that he's got on his radar that he needs. So don't get frustrated. That school that you love or that school that you're interested in, that coach is not getting back to you. That's because the reason why he's not getting back to you is because he may be recruiting another kid that he's already built the relationship with, and he doesn't have room for you. So if you reach out to a coach 3 times, move on to the next school, because that's going to give you a good idea of, this school may not be the best fit for me. The coach may not want me, so let me go to a school that does want me. But again, it's all about relationships. If a coach is going to offer you a $40,000 scholarship, he has to get to know you first, and that takes time by building your relationships throughout the process. What coaches are you personally talking to right now? What coaches are you building your relationships right now? What things are you doing right now to build those relationships with those coaches that you're looking in those schools that you're looking to attend? Look yourself in the mirror. That's what it's all about. And the 10th and final thing, about the recruiting process that you should understand, and this is a big one that I want you guys to know, and I love to talk about, is that your coach is not responsible for your recruiting process. So this can be a good topic in a bit controversial sometimes to people who don't really know. But I remember when I was in high school, right? And I want you guys to know, type in the chat, man. Type me in the chat if you were a kid that said, you know what, man, I wish my coach would be doing more. My coach ain't doing nothing for me. Type in the chat me, because I know I can definitely type it. I can definitely type it in there, because I definitely said it when I was in school. But I didn't realize myself, as I got older and started to understand the process and learn the process and learn more about, what coaches actually do, did I only realize that, man, their role. So I want you guys to think about your high school coach for a minute, right? Some of your coaches, right, have wives, have husbands, so they're married. Some of your coaches have kids. So not only are they married, they have families they got to take care of. Most of the coaches are teaching classes as well. So they're teaching 3 classes a day, right? So they're married, they got kids, they're teaching 3 classes a day. Some coaches are athletic directors. So not only are they responsible for their sport, but they're responsible for other sports as well, paperwork, all those different things. And then most of the on top of that, they got a coach still. So they did a survey a couple of years ago, and they surveyed high school coaches. A high school coach will spend anywhere from 80 to 90 hours a week on coaching, teaching, practicing, game day, all of those things. 80 to 90 hours a week. The average work week is only 40 hours a week. So let's say football, for example, you have 15 seniors on your team. Do you honestly think, and I want you to be honest with yourself, you honestly think a coach has time to send out film to 100 different schools for 15 different kids? No, he doesn't. It's impossible. So one of the things that I had to learn and understand that coach's role is that, my coach can't do it for me. I have to be at the forefront of my process. I can't leave my process in the hands of anybody but myself. Now, your coach's job, what it is, his job is to vouch for you, and his job is to validate you to college coaches. But his job, is not to do the process for you. So the sooner you realize that, the sooner you understand that going into it, the better start that you're going to have, the more that you need to do, and the more that you can, when you need to, you can lean on your coach for the additional help. What your coach does on top of what you're already doing, is a bonus. So that's important. So type in the chat for me, say, I understand. I understand that for sure. That my coach is not responsible for my process. I am. Okay? Awesome. Again, have you taken ownership of your process? Remember, don't leave your process in the hands of anybody else but yourself, because you're responsible for your process at the end of the day. So as Dr. Christie mentioned earlier, you know, I've been doing this for a little while, man. And, you know, I've run into parents and student athletes as a scout and even as an advisor, man, just not understanding what the process is all about, not knowing what to do, how to get started in the process, or anything like that. So a light bulb went over my head, like, oh, this is a need, man. Like the education part, the education piece is missing in this. So, you know, what I did, you know, as a former athlete, as a scout, and then, you know, as an advisor, I took all of those things, that questions from parents and coaches, and even from coaches, even from parents, throughout the process. And what I did is, you know, the kids that I were helping, I started to see, and I saw that the things were working. I started to develop a process. I learned, you know, when you help 81 kids, you know, get through the process, and you help kids get you start to understand what works and what doesn't work. And what I did, I just started taking notes, and I started putting down things, and I started to just compile information in order to help somebody else. And what it did, it turned into this guide that I have. Like again, Dr. Christie mentioned, it's called A Parent Step-by-Step Guide to Getting Through the College Recruiting Process, taking the frustration out of the process using what I call the champions approach. I just put a name to my approach of helping those kids, those most important things that every kid in every process need to do. This is not just for football. This is for all sports. You know, again, there's different nuances and different, you know, different timelines in each sport, but the core of recruiting and the things that you need to do, it goes regardless of the sport that you play. So I put it all in the guide for you guys. You know, I've been getting great feedback. I've been had it out for the last 2 years, and it's been selling like crazy, and working on getting into the high schools now. But it is available now for anybody that needs the help. And they want to learn more about the process. Go to jaminelliott.com/recruiting-guide. It's at the bottom of the screen there. Take a look at it. And like I say, if you got any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll leave my contact information at the end.
And it's also in the chat. And Jamin, I have a couple of questions when you get to a good point.
Yep. Yeah, I'm wrapping up now, and then I get to the end for the questions. We'll ask all the questions at the end, Dr. Christie.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. And again, just a little bit, just to tell you guys about kind of some of the things that I do. I have the guide as well, but you know, I get a lot of parents and student athletes that want to work with me personally, that want me to coach them throughout the process. So I have some one-on-one things that I do as well. And you kind of see some of the benefits and the things that I do, kind of help put together a recruiting plan, give you my personal letter of recommendation to college coaches, help you with your huddle highlights, become pretty much a recruiting mentor. And you know, being in the game for so long, I have so many contacts that's all over the place, former teammates that's coaching all over the place, connections here and there. So I have all these things. So sometimes I get families that want to work with me personally, and that's great. So that's an option as well, and that's something that we can talk about at a later date. But I just wanted to present you guys with the opportunity to know that not only do I have the guide, but I have a one-on-one thing that I do with my kids as well. And again, these are just some testimonials from some families that I work with. A Georgetown commit, Drake University, Washington Lee, Jacksonville University. So some of the testimonials from families that I work with. Like I said, I've been doing this for a while, man. And one of the biggest things is family. And I try to treat everybody like my family. All the kids, I treat them like my little brothers or my little sisters. And you know, and I'm on their butt. So it's something that's important for me to do. Again, over 80 athletes helped in the last 4 years. Who's next, right? Who needs help with their process? Who want to help get to the next level? If you do, reach out to me. And then I just put this up here so you guys can see. If you do want to have an opportunity to work with me one-on-one, I have a evaluation form that I have everybody fill out before. And what I'll do, you'll fill out your information on the form. You'll go through, and what I'll do, I'll check your information out, and I have to, you have to qualify. I don't just work with any kid. And I tell parents all the time, if you can play, I can help you. If you can't play, I can't help you. So one of the biggest things, I have to evaluate with the film. I take it back to my old scout days. So jaminelliott.com/athlete-evaluation-form is the site if you want to get evaluated and potentially do some one-on-one work. And again, so there's some ways to connect with me. So I want all you guys on the call right now, if you got your phones with you, go on and follow me on these platforms. My handle is @JERecruiting7 on all platforms, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Facebook. Make sure, pull out your phones right now. Go on and hit the follow button to stay connected with me, man, because I would love to learn more about your journey and get to know you throughout the process. So I'll leave it up for a couple seconds, but it's @JERecruiting7 is my handle on all of those platforms. I'm even trying to get on TikTok, Dr. Christie. I'm learning. I'm trying to learn about TikTok and how it works. I know you mentioned TikTok as well, so I'm not up there like I want to be, but I will be up there soon. And now we're here for the questions part.
Okay,
hopefully the information was helpful for you guys, and hopefully, I answered a lot of your questions that you had about the process. But if you have an additional questions, please feel free to ask. I'm an open book.
One quick question based on the services you provide.
Yeah.
Someone asked, do you do basketball?
So I do every sport. Again, my guy and how I do, I've helped kids in every single sport, not just football. I also help track and field as well. So I do every sport. Again, the core of recruiting remains the same regardless of whatever sport you play. So the things that I'm gonna walk you through, these are the things that you need to do in basketball, football, baseball, whatever sport you're playing. So I definitely help with every sport. Lacrosse, it's the same. It's all the same.
Excellent. Next question. What grade level should the athlete register for the Eligibility Center?
Great question. So first semester, sophomore year, typically anytime during your sophomore year, because you want to have at least 1 year of film. You want to have 1 year of a transcript from high school up there before you register. So first semester, sophomore year, or anytime throughout your sophomore year. And it's never too late to register for the Eligibility Center. Like if there's juniors or seniors up here, you can still register. But the sooner you register, the better, because it gives coaches an opportunity to see that, they're dedicated. They've already registered. They know what they want to do. So they just go from there. And again, they go and check your official transcripts, your grades, everything. So it's good for coaches to see as well that you're registered. So sophomore year is a good time to do.
Excellent. Next question. My son has a number but hasn't been cleared yet. His counselor told him not to do it until he had an official visit. Is that good advice?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You always, you can register at any time. I'm not sure what the holdup is as to why they didn't clear him to register. And like I said, every situation is a little bit different, so I have to dig in a little bit more to their situation. So I can't give you an answer on that as to why they didn't. But the Eligibility Center is open for everybody. Once you have 2 semesters of classes on your transcript, you're eligible to register for the Eligibility Center. So I'm not sure if that person want to reach out to me afterwards. We can talk about a little bit more.
And I think there's a distinction between you're eligible to register and when you actually get cleared. Is it your senior year that you get cleared?
So once you wrap up your entire high school career, is the time where they go through, make sure that you're taking your 16 core courses. They make sure they go through all that, and at the end you're cleared at the end. But you can register at any point. So like you said, registering and being cleared is different. But at the end of the day, once you graduated or once you completed all of your core courses, then that's the point where you'll be cleared in order to compete at the next level.
Thank you.
Yep.
And last question before we have to move to the next panel.
Yep.
Are NCSA and recruitment resource credible sources to help get recruited?
Oh my God. I'm so glad somebody brought that up. Like, oh my God. Like, I get that question 1,000 times a day. So listen, so one thing I'm not here to do is bash anybody, any other any service or anything like that. But one thing I want you to just keep in mind. So with NCSA, I know all about their process. So what they're doing, they're based in Chicago, right? They operate like almost like a call center type environment where they hire a bunch of young kids from college. They sit in cubicles, and what they do, they get roster sheets and roster names from different tournaments and different, combines and things like that. And what they'll do, they'll just start cold calling. They'll get the kids information and they'll start cold calling families, telling them that they can get them recruited. They'll set up a meeting over the phone, to try to sell you their services. So my biggest thing that I learned about and that I want to say is, think about this. How can someone say they can get you recruited if they never seen you play? I want you guys to think about that. That's NCAA stick. They do a great job at marketing, getting their name out to people. Everybody knows NCAA, but I want you guys to think about this. How can anyone say they can get you recruited if they never seen you play? They don't know if you can play, right? So just keep that in mind. Like I said, I will never knock a parent for doing what they need to do, what they feel they need to do for parents. But I always tell my athlete about NCAA. Me personally, that's a waste of money, because a lot of stuff that they're doing, you can do on your own. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, just know that you have to be evaluated first to know you can be recruited. And I also do evaluations as well.